Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this Dell Inspiron 15 model 5567. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is remove all the screws from the bottom. Alright, so you're going to use a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. And you want to keep all these screws because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I take it out, put it flat side down on my desk. In their pattern, I remove it. And then that way I can see where they came from. So here you can see there's like 4 here, and I'll just use that pattern if you want. Then you get 2 on the sides, or you can combine the rows and you can say 4 there. So whatever works for you, whatever makes it easier to remember. Alright, if this video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade or repair their devices. I'm going to be replacing the screen on this laptop. Okay, so again, we're going to remove them. So there's rows 4, and then I'll count that as 4. This one screw here is for the CD drive, so after we remove this screw, we're actually going to pull out the CD drive or the optical drive. Alright, let's go ahead and remove that. And these 2 screws are actually shorter than all the rest. I don't know if the screw up here is also holding the CD drive, but anyways, we got those 4. Let's go ahead and pull the CD drive out. Okay, so no, this screw isn't holding, only this screw is holding it to the CD drive. So we got the CD drive here. They do sell hard drive adapters for that go in place of the CD. So if you wanted to add a second hard drive, 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, you can do that. And just you want to measure this, and then you want to make sure it's the same kind of connector here. All right. Okay. There's some screws under here as well, but those look like PH0 screws, so we'll do those later. All right, let's go ahead and remove the other 4 screws. Next 4 screws. So this laptop has, if you do it in rows, 3 rows of 4, and then at the bottom where the laptop opens, there's only 3 screws there. So we're going to do 4, 4, 4, and then 3. Okay, and that's how we'll remember where the screws came from. Right, so here there's only 3. This isn't a screw, that's just a little plastic bump. Okay. Again, hopefully this video helps you guys. If it does, like, subscribe, and share my channel. And if it helps you save some money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. I actually do these repairs for a living. This is a customer's computer. But as I continue to put out more and more videos, slowly people, because they can fix it themselves, are less likely to bring their computers to me. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and remove these 3 screws here for the CD drive. I'm going to put them over here just so it's easier to keep track of. Alright, the main reason I'm opening this is because I'm replacing the screen, and when you replace the screen, you actually want to disconnect the battery and drain the power so you don't accidentally damage anything. Alright, so now that we got all those screws out, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and open this. Alright, so here you can see there's this gap here between the base and the palm rest. So what I do is I get my fingernails in that gap, and then I push with my thumbs here while I pull with my fingernails. Okay, just like this. Here you can see it pops out. Okay, just like that, going all the way around. If you don't have fingernails to do this, you can wait till they grow out, or you can buy some plastic pry tools to do this. But anyways, we're going to go all the way around the computer doing this. Okay, just like that. Let's go around to this side. And same thing, pull that out. Be very careful here because this plastic is kind of fragile. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do that. There we go. I don't know if there's any hidden screws on this model. Hopefully not. Alright, so now we're going to go around to the back here. It looks like it's all coming out. And now we just gotta kind of wiggle this thing out, I think. Alright, are there any hidden screws or anything weird here? Feels like it's getting caught on something. The front here's a little bit stuck. Let's rotate this again and see here. Okay, there was one clip I missed. So there we go. Once you do that, you can lift it over like that with the CD drive up first, and here you go. Inside, yep, there's not really much to this case. Pretty simple to remove. Okay, so the main thing we need to do is disconnect the battery. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. It looks like there's an SSD already in here, though I'm not sure what type of SSD this is. Alright, so pretty simple to remove. There's 3 screws. This screw is already removed, it looks like. And then this hard drive connects here. Let me actually zoom in and show some close-ups here. Let me move this aside. Alright, so I'm not going to completely disassemble this because my customer is waiting for me to repair this and give it back to them real quick. So yeah, you got the LCD LVDS connector. If you mess with this cable, again, you want to make sure to disconnect the battery first. So since I'm going to have to do that anyways, let's go ahead and do that. I'm actually just going to disconnect the cable. I'm not going to take the whole battery out, so sorry that this isn't going to be a complete guide, but I'm trying to do this quick. So disconnecting the battery there, I just grabbed the wings with my fingernails and kind of just wiggled and pulled it back. After that, we're going to open it up. You want to be careful because now there's less screws holding the thing in place, so these hinges are no longer being held by the screws, and like there's only these two screws here. So what I'm going to do, just to be extra safe, I'm going to actually hold these with my thumb. Well, actually, maybe I should just put the cover back on when I do this just to be safe. So I'm not going to open this up yet. I'm just going to show you guys, okay? So I'll do it the safe way to prevent any risk of damage. There's 2 RAM slots. Everyone always asks for some reason how many RAM slots when you can obviously see. If I tell you there's one here, you should know this is also another RAM slot. But anyways, here you go. It's an 8 gig PC4 2400T. So you can use any PC4 2400T RAM most likely. Some laptops, I've been working on a couple older ones, they'll have like a limitation on how much memory or the speed, so you want to be careful with that. Make sure you have a good return policy if you're going to experiment. Otherwise you can get another 8 gig stick, but you can most likely put 2 16 gig sticks if you want. Alright, you got the BIOS or CMOS or RTC real-time clock battery, whatever you want to call that connector, just like the others, you just wiggle and pull it out. Let me actually zoom in a bit to show you more. So you got the speaker connector here, okay, and that speaker connector runs along the bottom to connect the other speaker here. Of course, you got this USB and SD card slot there with this cable running over here. These cables, you just flip these latches up and then you can pull the connector out. I'm going to leave it in. All right, you got the hard drive or SSD connector here. There's a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. If you're not sure how to remove this, watch a few of my other videos. Basically, you'd have to remove this cable so that you can lift it up out of the way. Take these screws out, you can pull the drive up, and then you'd have to pull this connector off of the hard drive or SSD itself. It's a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive again. Alright, so since I'm not pulling this up, I'm not going to be 100% sure what these are, but okay, it's labeled. This says LED, JLED, so that's actually for the light on the front. You got the keyboard backlight connector here. This is the trackpad or touchpad cable. You got the keyboard connector here. All right, I think this keyboard is held in with melted plastic, so it's actually very difficult to replace. And if you're going to replace it, you'll most likely want to replace the whole keyboard palm rest assembly. As you can see, actually, there's the melted plastic there. All right, fan connectors right there. Again, LCD, LVDS connector. If you're going to mess with that, make sure that you disconnect the battery and then press and hold the power button to drain it. You got the DC jack charge port connector here. Also with the wing connector, you kind of just wiggle and pull it back. Then you got the wireless card here. One screw, you can take this plastic cover off. It comes up slightly at an angle like the RAM. You can pull that plastic thing off, and then you remove the antennas by pulling up from the tails of the wires, not prying from the front. All right. And then also the charge port has one screw holding it in. But for now, we're going to, again, do the screen replacement. So let's go ahead and put the bottom cover back on. So we're going to do the opposite. We're putting this side first and then the CD drive side last. Okay, just because all the ports are on that side. So the main reason I'm doing this is just so I can make sure that the hinge screws are in there. Okay, so I'm going to just tighten up the hinge screw spots. So we got one screw here. And this is important. I'm tightening these because if you leave them out, there's a good chance you can break the hinges. So I'm going to put the other small hinge screw here. Okay, and then this side we have the 2 hinge screws on this side. So I'm going to put those 2 screws back as well. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully I'll finish in time. I told the customer I'd finish in about half an hour. Probably should finish in less than half an hour, but took a while to set up to do the recording. Anyways, now that we got all the screws in, let's go ahead and open up the laptop slowly. All right, then we're going to press and hold the power button for 15 seconds. This is very important. People keep asking me, why do you do it? I mean, it takes 15 seconds and it prevents damage to your computer. So just do it. It basically drains power from the board so that if you accidentally touch the wrong metal pins together, you won't destroy your computer. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead now and pull off the frame. I actually made a separate video just for this, but yeah, normally I wouldn't do it this way, the way I'm laying it on its back, but I have to make it visible on camera. So anyways, what you do is you pull up from the center here, and then you push the frame into the center. So here you can see as you kind of pull this up, okay. All right, so basically we're twisting this bezel up this way, okay. Hopefully you can tell what I'm doing. And then now that you get closer here, once you get enough of this, you can actually just pull the frame in towards the center as you kind of lift it up. All right, so basically I'm pushing with this finger in towards the center and then lifting this center piece up. Okay, same thing with the other side. Pull it up, push it towards the center, and then pull this up. All right, and then the back here. So this one's a little bit tricky, I showed earlier, but you have to close this, and then you're gonna pop this part out. You can actually see there's two separate layers. So I just use my fingernail. You can use a plastic pry tool or whatever, but that's how I pop these out. So there we go. We separated that. All right, now we're going to open the computer again, and then we're gonna go ahead and same thing, pop these clips out, kind of pulling it up while pulling it away from the screen. Okay, so just like this. These bottom ones are a little bit more difficult to unclip, so keep that in mind. Okay, so there we go. All right, I make it look easy. It takes a little bit of practice, but yeah. All right, so here you can see we got to the screen. So now we're going to take the screen out. There's 4 screws holding it in place. Again, normally I wouldn't do it upside down like this, but to make it easy to see in camera, that's what I got to do. So here we go. Let's remove these 4 screws. All right. Again, using the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Oop, did I switch? Let's see here. You can actually do it with the PH0, JS0, but you want to be extra careful and put extra pressure so that the screwdriver doesn't skip. But to reduce the risk of damaging the screws, you want to use a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. All right, so once we get the 4 screws out for this LCD panel, we can actually lift the screen up and out. So I'm going to actually turn it the way I should work on it, so this way, and then I'm going to let the screen fall forward, and you want to be careful with the cable down there. Okay, hopefully you can see. So this cable, you want to be careful. All right, so I'm going to rotate the screen back a little, and now let me actually zoom in and show you how we're going to replace the cable. So here, the screen model number for this one is N156BGE-EB2 revision C1. When you go to order this, a lot of places will give you a compatible model, not the exact same matching model number. So keep that in mind, and then just make sure that the connector here matches. All right, so to make this easy, I'm going to use a plastic razor blade to get this adhesive part of this strip out. Okay, so hopefully I can get underneath it. It's kind of weird because they have this black plastic part that's a little bit higher. So, okay, I can start here. So I'm going to use the plastic razor blade to kind of cut this adhesive. Okay, and you want to be careful not to damage the connector. So just slowly slicing at the adhesive here. Okay, just like this, slowly slicing away at it. Okay, you don't really have to use a razor blade to slice this. You can just like try and peel it up slowly, just like this. A lot of times the adhesive will separate from this, and then you'll have to add some tape to tape it back down. Right, once you get that out, there's a metal tab or latch. You want to flip that metal latch up just like that, right? Then grab the 2 edges and then pull this back. Again, you want to make sure you disconnected the battery and held the power button for 15 seconds before you do this. If you pull this out like that, and you accidentally even very tiny slightly made it go not straight back, there's a very good chance you're going to fry the backlight circuit on the motherboard itself and possibly damage this cable, possibly damage this connector. So it's not worth the risk. Open it up, take the battery out, and yeah. All right, so now we're going to get the replacement screen here. Hopefully it's okay. They packed it with like very little packaging, but here we go. So here you can see actually the model number is slightly different, N156BGA-EA2. All right, I think pretty sure that's different. N156B, yeah, instead of EB2, it's EA2 that they sent, but it should be okay. If not, it's the seller's fault and you can blame them, and yeah. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead and get the connector. if you want, you can message the sellers for the parts and then ask them if they're the same model number or just compatible. But anyways, get the connector lined up and then use the metal tab to help you pull it into place. All right, you should feel it somewhat click into place, and then put the metal tab back down. Once you get the metal tab down, all right, make sure it's going down over the whole thing. Okay, looks good. Then you can go ahead and put this tape adhesive thing back on. All right, let's zoom back out. Now we're basically just going to flip the screen up into place. Okay, just like that. And then to make it easier for you guys to see, I'm going to flip it like this again. All right, and then we're going to put back all the hinge screws. So let's go ahead and put back the hinge screws, or not the hinge screws, the screen, sorry. The 4 screws that hold the screen into place. Okay. Technically, these screws aren't really even needed because the plastic bezel frame actually will hold the screen into place. But yeah, this helps hold it a little bit better, but I mean, it's can't go anywhere, so yeah. All right, so now we got the screen into place. We're going to reconnect the battery, and then we're going to power it up before we peel off this protective layer. So let's go ahead and slowly close this. All right, and then we're going to open up the laptop again. Same thing, just pop the bottom cover off the same way as before. Just get my fingernails in there. Again, you do it however you want. And then we're going to, oops, I almost forgot. Because we put the screws back, of course, we have to take the screws back out. Okay. Don't forget to take the screws back out, otherwise you can break the plastic. All right. Get those 2, and then we'll get these 2. Alright, and then let's go ahead and pull this cover back off. Again, I'm just using my fingernails, but you can do it however works for you. Okay, going over from the CD drive side first. Okay, just like this. There we go. Why is this side not going? There we go. Okay. Oops, let's zoom out a little bit more. Alright, so this part somewhat clicked back in, and there we go. This side somewhat clicked back in as well. There we go. All right, so we got the bottom cover back off again. Now we're just going to reconnect the battery here. Make sure that you put it back in straight. Make sure it's not going crooked into that connector. You don't want to damage the pins inside of there. Okay. Is it slightly over? There we go. And then pull the whole connector in. Let me see, is it going in right? Okay, pull the whole connector in. It's being a little weird. I might have to remove the optical disc drive connector because it's being strange, but let's see here. Hopefully, oh, there we go. There we go. Now it plugged in right. Oops, sorry, my head got in the way. There we go. So we got that connector lined up. I probably should have zoomed in to show you that, but anyways, okay, pull that connector back in. We're good to go. Now we can go ahead and put the cover back on. Whoa, zooming out way too much. All right, so we can put the cover back on again. We'll put this side in first, and then we'll work our way over to this side. I'm just gonna click everything back in. All right. I'm going to assume everything's okay now, and I'm actually going to put this CD drive back in. Let's go ahead and put these 3 screws. If it doesn't work, then I'm just gonna have to take it back apart, but I mean, it is what it is. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But let's go ahead and put these 3 screws in with the PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver. Okay. Alright, once you get those 3 screws in, put the CD drive back on. Switch back to the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver, and let's go ahead and put back all these case screws. I'll actually just put in the hinge screws first because those are the most important ones. The rest, once I confirm it's working, then we'll snap back the frame on, and then we will put back the rest of the screws. All right, so last 2 over here. Running out of time. All right, last screw here. Alright, now let's go ahead and open this up. Okay. Open this up slowly, carefully. I'm going to snap all of this into place. Alright, everything looks good. There we go. Let's power it up. Sometimes after removing the battery, you might have to turn it back on, but it looks good. Oh, temperature too high. Alright, sorry about that, guys. My battery case actually was on, I forgot, and then my phone overheated while recording. Anyways, it's on. It looks like they have the, what do you call, the high contrast thing on. But other than that, screen's working good, so we should be good to go. I'm going to shut this down. We're going to put back all the screws. Let's go ahead and snap back on the bezel. So we're going to peel this thing off, of course. Alright. So peel off that screen protector thing. Throw that away. Alright, so next we're going to put the plastic bezel frame back on. So you just get this back into place, line it up. Alright, I'm going to start with the top outer corners, just like this. Work our way over. Again, I'm pushing on the outside, basically like the opposite. Like normally we're pulling up like that. So basically we're doing it the other way. So we're pushing the outer edges in, and then it's basically like as if you were rotating it, but instead of pulling it away from the screen, we're pushing it into the screen. So there we go, just like that. Okay, and then same thing. The bottom can be a little tricky. The way you want to do this is put it on its side, or however you can reach both sides, and then you just pinch both sides together like this. You do have to have the screen somewhat open a little bit, all right, so that you can reach both sides at the same time. And then you want to check and make sure it looks snapped. If you couldn't do it that way, you can actually also do it this way and kind of do it. But if you can't get your fingers in there, you might have to do it the other way. All right, so there you go. That all snapped in, and then we have to snap the bottom corners as well. They didn't reach far enough, so make sure you get the bottom corners in. Looks like this is still popped up a little bit, so we're going to push that as well, and make sure the bottom corners are good. You might have to use a little tool. I'm going to use this thin tool to get in between and help me push that. There we go. I think this side's good, but yeah. All right, then you want to just check all around, make sure the screen frame looks good, and it does. So let's close it up, and then let's put all the screws back in. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in, and we're just going to put back all the PH1 or JAS1 screws. So we already tightened in the hinge screws. Now we're just going to tighten the rest of these. Okay. Just like that. Alright, and that's pretty much it. We're just going to put the rest of the screws. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others. Thank you for watching. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to my channel. I actually do these repairs for a living, but as I continue making these videos, less and less customers come because then they can actually fix them themselves. So hopefully YouTube will help me offset that missing work. But other than that, thanks for watching. Only 2 screws left to go, and we're done. Alright, last one. There we go. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Let's drop this.